Hi everybody. So this is aimed at parents and carers who would like to talk to their teenagers about their futures and about careers and about jobs and about what they might want to do with their lives, but either haven't started the conversation yet or have had some conversations that maybe haven't gone so well. So just going to give you some tips and some ideas around how to speak to your young person about their futures and things that as careers advisors we are trained to do. So the first thing is I'm just going to point out two questions that I do hear quite a lot that parents, sometimes teachers as well, ask young people that I would say there are better alternatives to be asking instead. So one is, what do you want to be when you grow up? I mean, it's a classic question, isn't it? And it probably doesn't seem like it's a loaded question, but to most of us, it feels like we have to have an answer. And usually that answer is a job. And it's not a very open question. It sort of closes it down to that young person coming up with a solution. And I would suggest that there are better ways of asking. For example, one way of asking is what would you like your life to be like? Because that suddenly broadens it out. It doesn't mean they have to come up with a job solution, but rather that maybe they would like their life to be really exciting, or they would like their life to be quite calm, or they'd like their life to be in nature, or to allow them to be in lots of different countries, or they'd like their life to be a bit more solitary, or with lots of other people, or filled with animals, or whatever it is. But it will give them the opportunity to think a bit broader rather than just narrowing it down. So that's one question. It's an easy one, and see what comes out of that. The second thing that does happen quite a lot, and actually I see it with teachers maybe more than parents and carers, is the directive of, I think you should be da da da. And you know, it's made with the best intentions, and in fact I've heard careers advisors do this before, so we've all made that mistake. But again, it kind of ends up narrowing that person down. And maybe it's the best idea in the world. Maybe they are perfectly suited to what you think they're perfectly suited to a particular career area or job. But generally when a young person hears that, they'll go down that rabbit hole of researching and looking into that and thinking that's right for me, unless they think it's a terrible idea. But generally it tends to just close things down. So a better way of doing it is, for example, to say, why don't you go and explore X? Why don't you go and look at this career area? Not, I think you should do it, but have you looked at this? Because then it will give them the opportunity to explore it for themselves and make that decision for themselves. And they might come back and agree with you, even though you haven't said it. Or they might go, God, that looks awful. But if you've kind of suggested it, that's already given them kind of a validation that may or may not be helpful for them in reality. So just tweaking the way you ask things or say things can make a massive difference, and it doesn't give them any pressure to answer or to agree with you. Some other things that would be helpful, if you look on Get Career Confidence website, we have a booklet aimed at parents and carers with lots and lots of information in there, which is going to be hopefully really helpful to you. And I wanted to draw your attention to the end of the booklet, and we have a section called Decision Making, Giving Good Advice. And you'll see that there are a number of potential problems or issues that might come up that you have to deal with, and some suggestions of things to do. So things like if you find that your child's limiting their ambitions, if they've got an unrealistic goal, if they're not doing well enough, or they've just not got a clue what to do, maybe they've got a lack of confidence, maybe you're worried about their choices. So there's lots of examples and things that you could do to support them to move forward. There's also some decision-making case studies of real issues that have come up presented that I've come across, where parents or guardians, carers have had to cope with quite difficult situations and what they've done, and on reflection what they wish they'd done differently. So I think that's a really helpful area to look into and to explore even with your child, to say, do you think I'm doing any of these things, and what would you rather see? Along with the booklet, having a look at our C2B videos and our how-to videos are going to really help you to get more of an insight into some of the things that your young person is going to be thinking about at this point, especially with the how-tos. And the C2Bs will give you some ideas of career areas that you could look at together. So make it a joint effort or joint activity. So I hope that those suggestions are useful to you. I think the only other thing that would be maybe helpful is to look at our career resources area. So if your young person has got a particular interest in a sector like law, you can see the websites that are connected to that, and that's another little activity, research activity that you can do together, because the more that it's a joint effort, the better the experience will be for both of you. Any questions you want to ask, make sure you contact us on the chat. Follow us on Facebook. We put lots of information specifically for parents and carers on there. And yeah, get involved with your school's Career Share campaign. Take care. Bye.